Hey everyone, it's Michael with Aimed Intentions. Happy to have you here today. Today I wanted to review what is design thinking and how it can actually be a bridgeway to paving the path towards success in your business or personal process improvements. I found a great segue into this from MIT Sloan Management Review, and I would love to share with you. Haven't explored this fully, but we can do it together. So it is a post from MIT Sloan Management Review, and it's the key differences between managerial thinking and design. Kind of all this, and it's from this source. Can design thinking succeed in your organization? And they have the summer issue here. The make you a wise leader. So I think this is very appropriate to the content that's on this channel. I clicked on the link. It took me here, and I don't subscribe to this, so a little bit disappointing, but I had a sneaking suspicion that I could access it through my university privileges. So I found the article. It was published in September of 2022 by David Dunn, Therese Erickson, and Jan Keitzman. So the article, which I haven't read yet, we're going to go through this together because I think that's kind of a more valuable process to do this, is we can be on the path to self-discovery together. Is can design thinking succeed in your organization? Many leaders become discouraged when design thinking doesn't get the results they expect. They can improve the odds of success by assessing the readiness of their organization and preparing their teams for a different problem solving process. So let me fix this real quick. Itch in my head. So I think the key here is to understand that design thinking is different from process improvement, quality improvement. And I'm sure this article, it looks like it's going to go in depth of what design thinking is here. Design thinking offers a way to explore uncharted territory. Okay. So it's essentially a new path, a new method of thinking. Participants in design thinking exercises frequently neither understand the process nor have the skills needed to practice it successfully. It's no wonder why they become disenchanted and fail. Okay, so what is design thinking? Design thinking is a discipline that has emerged in the last half century from studies of innovation, processes, problem solving, and creativity. It's an iterative, experimental approach to problem solving that involves gaining a deep understanding of customer needs. So it's customer focused. It's the person using the product focused. And I first encountered this terminology at the Society of Hospital Medicine annual conference, Converge. I think it was 2023 at this point. And I was intrigued by it, but I honestly haven't had a time to really do a deeper dive into it. So that seems like a good article to really learn more about it. This is really an innovation-based process improvement tool. Others use it to identify pain points in the user experience and things. So create a digital experience to improve the access. Okay. All right, well, let's just get into it. Think like a designer. Designers' methods are appealing in these situations precisely because they demand that people think outside the boundaries of business as usual. Great. I'm already intrigued. Of what was on the X post here. So in contrasting between managerial thinking, so this would be your typical quality improvement, process improvement approach versus design thinking. So it's user first, so it's customer driven. Problem solving through the managers are usually the ones trying to drive forward the change. Work style is flexible, informal, and flat. Thought process is inductive, and abductive. No, I mean, this is really a great approach for the systems to get that quantitative data. Create opportunities, stimulate creativity. Failure is welcomed as it's a chance to learn. So it's a very much a growth mindset approach. Workflow is explorational of future value. Okay, great. A lot of that made sense to me. Any of this further, but we'll just go through each of these bullet points, and I'll give you some of my thoughts. Better for the users, customers, patients, students, patrons, employees. Many managers would argue that this is what business is about. However, for designers, improving users is the end in itself, not a means to making profit. Okay, so the idea here is that you don't want to improve a process and improve the quality because it'll lead to higher returns, but it's just to improve the experience in itself. In the approach to collaboration, they take a holistic view of the user experience, and it tries to allow people to collaborate where I work would benefit from a design thinking implementation. I just wonder how you tear down those silos. All right, let's see what their example is. For example, in personnel at a Toronto, they described only what happened in their department rather than the totality of what happens to a patient from the onset of symptoms until they are cured. You know, this is so true. So I am the medical director of one of the units in my hospital, and so many times the reports that I get talk about what the patient experienced in the emergency department, not necessarily their entire stay. And my unit is responsible for all the comments, but we really can't enact change in another location. So a design thinking approach would think about how do we improve this experience across the silos of different departments. All right, so work style. Designers are free ad hoc teams. Yeah, they form ad hoc teams. So that's the key is you create teams across different disciplines and departments to to work on the issue. Participants work through defined agenda methodically. Digressions are discouraged. When designers meet, they are focused on a is often integral to the creative process because it leads to ideas that might not have otherwise been considered. Managers who are used to tidy discussions with defined outcomes may find designers' approach to be confusing and unproductive. Interested in the thought process here. Let's just skip here. Beginning, one can apply the established rule that umbrella sales go up when it rains and base sales forecasts on the weather. People are prepared to pay more for an umbrella when it's raining and infer that the best time to raise the umbrella prices during a rainstorm. Reasoning, considering the most likely explanation from incomplete information by drawing inferences from limited information they imagine what could be, such as a new type of umbrella that withstands windstorms. Hmm. So knowledge generation, managers will focus on the data for quantitative reports, and it tells you the what and the how, but numbers aren't good at telling you the why. So you get the why, and it really gets at the descriptive reason of why something is happening. And in quality improvement, especially in Lean Six Sigma, I think about the idea of the five whys, and usually by the fifth why, you can figure out what the problem is or what the underlying issue is. So it's like, um, problem of, the garage door is open. Why is the garage door open? Well, I didn't press the button. Why didn't you press the button? My hands were full. Why were your hands full? Because I was trying to do everything in one trip. It gets to that, but so it seems like design thinking allows you to get to the why sooner. Designers tend to welcome constraints as both a source of structure and a catalyst for creativity. Again, it's more of a growth mindset approach. It's like you're applying a growth mindset to a uh, problem solving exercise. Designers specialize in exploration, which leads them to question basic assumptions about how business is done and why. In fact, it is in fact their job. On the other hand, managers tend to favor exploitation, efficient, profitable results that may or may not solve customers' problems. They have every incentive to continue applying what they know and taking for granted the way things have always worked because doing so enables them to achieve their performance goals. Summary: ways of thinking and working that make managers successful often differ from those that best serve designers. One way is not better than the other, and each has its place. In fact, it would be both unrealistic and undesirable for managers to think and act like designers or vice versa. Yeah, that's great. And this article goes use a design thinking readiness assessment tool. Um, and it has some questions here. So you can apply this to whatever organization you're. And if you're not ready, stop and reevaluate. Yeah, this is a good article. I'll probably read more of it just to further understand it. Oh, here we go. How to interpret the readiness assessment tool. Okay, good. So you can pause this and see if you're ready. Great. So this David Dunn is a professor at the University of Victoria. Great. Well, I thought that was very informative, and it can teach that there's another process to help you towards the path of success and improve the process. And the key here is taking a growth mindset approach, using failure as a source of to spur creativity, but everything is done in the face of the customer experience rather than how the experience then leads to some other secondary outcome. Uh, so I think that's a very interesting way of thinking. Um, in a hospital, maybe we ought to be using design thinking processes rather than quality improvement processes more than we do. Um, but I think the key here in the hospital is that I would have to use this readiness assessment tool. Yeah, I really like the first question. Does your organization prioritize user experience over traditional performance goals? I mean, kind of at a sometimes here, 5 for that. Does your organization empathize with users' problems and actively seek out? No, not really. Yeah, so I mean, I think this would be a useful tool to assess the readiness of using a design thinking approach rather than a quality improvement or managerial approach. So I think that's where I'll leave it today. This was a great article. Again, here's the source for your own reading. And it was in the MIT Sloan Management Review. I have this pinned to my uh, X profile. So I'll leave it there for you today. It was great talking with you. Friday, a lot going on in the world, so everyone stay safe um, and keep on pursuing your own individual self improvement, as well as trying to keep on innovating your business and your leadership skills so that you can create the legacy that you want. This is Mike with Aim Intentions. Take care. Bye.